Hey guys, thanks for checking out my video. This is going to be my 323 Frostblades Trickster League Starter. We're going to go through a lot of stuff. I'm going to try to cover as quick as I can. So let's get into it. First thing I'm going to show you is a day one mapping showcase. This is with my SSF character that I just did a practice run with this week. And here's the claw I had for this showcase. Okay, you can see this claw is very bad. It's a bad base type. It's got low attack speed. It doesn't have attack speed on the claw at all. It's got crafted lightning damage on it. Okay, and here's what it looks like. When you enter maps, this is like white maps. Okay, when you first enter maps, I just want to show you what the gameplay you should expect. You can clear mobs. You know, packs die real easily. Okay, and I had some latency issues when I was doing this too, as you can see. So this is going to look a little less smooth than it should, but you can see you can move around quick. Packs die quick, and here's the essence here that you can see even on day one going into white maps, you're able to kill essences. Sometimes they can get sketchy depending on how much you juice your essences on the Atlas tree, but you can do essences even as soon as you enter maps. And I'll show you the boss here. Here's when you enter the boss room. There's a whole pack of density here, and you can see that whole pack is going to blow up. Just like that, and then there's the boss damage. Boom, boss dies almost instantly. And yeah, there you go. That's good enough for map showcase. And then here's an end game bossing showcase. This is from last league. Okay, pre-nerf footage. Okay, Uber Cyrus here. This is pre-nerf footage. The build is gonna have less damage this league, guys. There's no sugarcoating it. The build will have less damage. Okay, because of the heat shiver nerfs. And I'll go into that a little bit more later. But here's a Uber Cyrus that you can see dies in about 2 seconds. So the build can be scaled to very, very high damage, but it will be less damage this league. I'm not gonna pretend that's not the case. Quick warning, okay? Quick disclaimer: Frostblades isn't the fastest league starter, guys. Okay, it's not a racing build. It's not the most powerful day one build. You're not going to rush Ubers on this build, okay? If you're a new player, you might find the leveling with Frostblades to be frustrating, okay? And you'll actually have to fight bosses. If you can't tolerate that prospect, then I recommend you pick a different league starter. But if you stick with it, around level 30, 35 or so, it starts to pick up a lot. And if you've never played Frostblades before, it's active, fast, it's a fun play style, and it's highly scalable, and I highly recommend it. So here's some tips for getting through the campaign. The beginning of the campaign is the hardest part of the build, and the leveling process is exactly the same as it was last league. It didn't change at all. I recommend that you start with a duelist mule. You don't have to do this. This is totally optional. But you can get all these things. You can get an Ancestral Protector Totem, which is big. You can get a second Quicksilver Flask. You can get Ancestral Call, which you can use until you get the Strike Mastery. And you can get Ruthless and Sealskin. And you get more opportunities for good 3-links. So here's what that looks like. All you do is you make a duelist. You kill Hillock. You run to Tidal Island, and you kill Hail Rake real quick. Like that. And then you run through Mudflats. You click on the things in Mudflats, and once you get through Mudflats, you're done. And you can check the vendor again for links again, and that's about it. And you get all this stuff. It takes about 5 minutes. Like I said, optional. Get a heavy belt or an amber amulet as soon as you can, because you're going to need the strength from one of those things to use Ancestral Protector. While you're leveling, you can use a two-handed sword, you can use claw, you can use axe, you can use any weapon you want. It doesn't matter what you use in the beginning because you don't have any claw specific scaling until later on. So just use use the best weapon you find that has the most damage on it. You can vendor a blue gem plus an iron ring, and that will give you a sapphire ring for Merveil to make Merveil a little easier. Here's some other options you can use to level in Act 1 and early Act 2. If you don't want to use Frostblades, you can use Spectral Throw, you can use Splitting Steel, which will probably be a lot better now because you don't have to reload it anymore. You can use Stormblast Mine, Puncture, Viper Strike, Blade Trap. You can literally use anything you want. It doesn't matter in the beginning. Just use whatever you prefer. I like to level with Frostblades because it makes it simple. You don't have to do any swapping. There's no additional socket pressure that comes with swapping. and etc. So for Act 1, you're going to use Frost Blades and then basically whatever other gem links that you can get, whether that's red socket Ruthless, green socket Added Cold. If you can find a 3-link with a blue socket, you can use Added Lightning Damage. You can swap in Ancestral Call before you get the Strike Mastery. You can use Faster Attacks if you have another green socket. And then when you're fighting bosses, make sure you put down your totem and you use Frost Bomb and Frost Blink a lot. Okay, and take out Ancestral Call if you're using it. So Act 1 is going to look slow, guys. Okay, it's going to look like this if you play Frostblade. So here's Brutus, right? He will die, but it's going to be slow. Just keep that in mind. Okay, I'm not going to pretend it's easy in Act 1. Act 1 can be a struggle. But by the time you get to Act 4, okay, here's Malachi. This is the difference. You can see that heart comes out, it dies instantly. Malachi chunks down. Trinity's online by this point. The damage is much, much better. Okay? So here's all the gems that you should add as you play through the game. You can kind of just pause the video here and look at this. I'm not gonna say every single one. There's 2 main swaps that you have to do while you're leveling. The first one is to get Trinity online, and the second one is when you swap to crit. And I'm going to go into each of those a little bit more here. Around Act 3 or 4, you want to get Trinity online. And basically, all you need to do is put on Wrath and then craft lightning damage on your claw or on some other piece of gear. You need to have enough lightning damage to proc Trinity. You'll have cold damage from Frostblades, and you'll have lightning damage from Wrath and your crafts. And that will get Trinity online, which is very, very strong. And by this point, you should have a 4-link, which should be Frostblades, Trinity, Ruthless, and Ellie damage. Added cold support might brick your Trinity if you use added cold support. So I recommend you just use the 2 red gems if you can find them. If you can find a 4-link like that. So that's how you swap to Trinity. And here's some example claws that you can use. Basically, you can use any claw that you find with the most damage on it. Preferably fire or lightning damage. Lightning damage is ideal. If you can get attack speed on it, that's like a bonus. If you get one with high cold damage, that's also going to make Trinity harder to proc, so keep that in mind. And then the second swap is when you go crit. And basically what that means is you get rid of Ellie weakness, which you use Ellie weakness early because you have cold and lightning damage, so Ellie weakness is very strong. You swap that out for Assassin's Mark. And you do that when you start getting the crit nodes. So there's crit nodes on the tree. There's here, 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 and down here. Once you start adding these crit nodes in, swap to Assassin's Mark, and then whenever you get a green socket for Nightblade, you can add in Nightblade as well. And then after this, you don't really change much all the way into maps. Once you do get to maps, though, there are 2 more swaps that you're going to do. The first one is adding in Grace and Precision, and then the second one is when you swap to Hatred and Heat Shiver. Okay? So once you get to maps, you're going to want to put Grace on to help you survive. To do that, you're going to need the Mana Reservation Mastery up here, and you're going to need the Charisma Wheel. Without those, you can't really add Grace in yet. So take those, add in Grace, add in Precision, okay? And then, as soon as you can get a Heat Shiver, basically, you're going to want to swap Wrath and get rid of Trinity, and then put on Hatred. And then just put back in Ruthless or Ellie damage, as long as you have the links for it. You can't really use Trinity anymore after you get Heat Shiver. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. Here's the Ascendancy. I recommend 1 step ahead first because freeze and chill immunity during the campaign is very good. The second and third Ascendancy can be either one of these. It doesn't really matter which one. Pick whichever one you want, and then take this one last. There's 5 jewel sockets on the build. There's right here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with the cluster jewel, and you get 13 masteries, and they're all right here on the tree. You get 14 total, but 13 different for polymath, so that's very good. All right, here's a day 1 PoB I'm going to go into a little bit. This is going to be linked in the description. So in this PoB, this right here is level 84. This is a level 84 tree here with level 19 gems with 0 quality. Okay, and this is the damage on a 4-link. Okay, 665 on a 4-link. And this gear is an essence-only claw. Okay, this is a claw with literally nothing but an essence and a crafted fizz damage on it. And the rest of this gear is all just life and resist crap with like crafted suppression. Like this is a corrupted chest. Life resists. There is a taming here though on day 1. Okay, taming is an extremely strong ring. Get that as soon as you can. And then the rest of the gear is very, very, very basic. Heavy belt with strength and life, crafted damage, and then yeah, the gear here day 1 is very, very bad. And then once you get a 6 link, you're going to add on these 2 gems. Your damage is going to keep ramping up. And then as soon as you can get yourself a heat shiver, that's going to bump up your damage still a lot. And then as soon as you put on a yoke, you're going to start shocking a little bit more. So you can ramp the shock up a little bit. And then now you're up to 2 million damage already with just that stuff. And then you slap a Divine Judgment anoint on your yoke whenever you can. You upgrade your claw to one that has a tiny bit of attack speed and crit. And now we're up to almost 3 million damage with complete shit gear. Okay. And I will have this linked in the description. You guys can go through it. There'll be different trees here. There's going to be different gems here. Day 1, week 1, high budget, and then items. Day 1, week 1, high budget. So look through this stuff as you wish. Yeah, that's it basically for day 1 PoB. And then for the week 1 setup, you basically just do all this stuff as soon as you can. You get a 6 link, you get heat shiver, you get yoke, get any lethal pride for the strength. You add on your implicits, additional strike, pierce, brittle, fortify. You get gem quality. You start getting suppression. You get chaos resist. Make sure you get accuracy somewhere at some point. Why does that thing keep coming up? Make your flasks better. Get higher crit, higher attack speed rolls on your flasks, and just keep improving your gear. So for the notes section in the PoB, if you come here, notes, there's going to be a bunch of stuff here that's going to tell you about when to make some swaps, and there's also links to some of my videos for crafting guides, and then there's a bunch of helpful trade links here that you guys can look at for Watcher's Eyes, yokes, claws, some other stuff here. So check this out. And then for bandits, kill all. You need the skill points. They're very, very important. Pause the video here if you want to see Pantheons. I think Lunaris is or Solaris is the best one, but there's a lot of ones that are usable. Additional strikes are extremely important. Pause the video here and look at this slide. Get +2 strikes eventually because it is very, very important. Same thing with Pierce. Pierce is very, very important for clearing high density. Okay. Pause the video here if you want to read about map mods to avoid and strategies. Pause the video here if you are having trouble surviving or if you want to know how to ramp your damage up. This is like a summary. I get asked all the time, how do I stay alive and how do I get more damage? Okay, and then also how do I proc Trinity, but that doesn't matter anymore because Trinity's kind of dead. Pause here and read that. How is the build different from last league? Okay, Heat Shiver took a huge nerf, guys. Okay, I won't sugarcoat it. You lost a lot of damage from the Heat Shiver nerf, and you can no longer use Trinity because we relied on that Heat Shiver damage to proc the Trinity. You also lost a Helm enchant, which means you have to use Enlighten now instead of a Reservation Helm enchant to level up your precision to accuracy cap. Late game. That's late game, okay? Also lost the Penetration Boot enchant. That's another 10% damage. And we lost Tattoos, which were more damage and build flexibility. The TLDR is that the build lost a lot of damage, guys, okay? But it's still going to be excellent for mapping and basically everything except for uber bossing, deep delving, and maybe 100% deli. But you could probably even do that still with high investment, okay? So if you want to map, this is a great mapping build, guys. That's primarily what the build is. Don't expect to walk into Ubers on the first few days of the league and have a good time, okay? What about Affliction League power stuff? It's kind of too early to say. We haven't seen the Transfigured Frostblades gem yet. Hopefully it's not useless. We haven't seen all the details about the tinctures and the charms and stuff, so I can't really say what's going to be the best for that new Affliction League power stuff. So stay tuned to the channel, and we'll put out updates, and we'll figure it out as the league goes. Additional resources you can find on my channel. Okay, it's all still completely relevant because the build hasn't really changed much at all in the last year. So top 10 facts video. There's crafting guides there for gloves, chest, claws, shield. I'm going to put up some build updates as the league goes. There's a 321 build guide that goes into much greater detail on every single aspect, like how to suppress cap, how to hit cap, all that kind of stuff. So check out that video if you want to see a more detailed breakdown. And yeah, subscribe to the channel. On the stream, we play PoB Bingo, guys. This is a great time. Come by my streams, and after about week 1 or so, we'll start playing it again. I'll do PoB reviews for you, and we'll play Bingo to see how many mistakes that you're making on your build. So tune into the stream for that. It's a great time. And yeah, that's about it, I think. Thanks for watching. Good luck in Affliction League. Subscribe to the channel. Check out my stream. I'm streaming on Twitch now, twitch.tv/ZishPoE, and right here on this YouTube channel. The PoB will be linked in the description. You guys can look through it. There's probably a couple things I forgot to cover, but if you just look through the PoB, you should find what you're looking for. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.